This lesson is on doing field validations. Now, in a perfect world, our users would always fill in all the information that was needed, that we asked for. They would always fill it in perfectly. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, and we need to check the data. Often we do, because we're going to take this data down the line and we're going to put it either into a file or we're going to put it into a database. And not all data should be allowed in to the file or the database. So this is a judgment call. It depends on the business needs, on what validations that you actually do. I'm going to go through and show you some of the validations I put in this form and then show you the code on how I did it. The form is already filled out here correctly, so let's see that work correctly. Submit button. My name's Steve. I've spent 14 years of my life sleeping. Better start planning for retirement. We've seen that before. Now, let me take all the data out, all the fields. And I hit the submit button. You must enter a first name. Go back and try again. Now, I could have checked for everything all at once and given a report that all the fields were empty, but I chose to do one at a time, and I'll show you how I did that. Put the name in here now. Submit the information. It says you must enter the hours you sleep. Okay, be that way. I'm going to put in 6, and I'm going to accidentally hit a G. My finger just slips and hits the keyboard. So I hit submit, and it says, well, the hours you sleep must be numeric. Not numeric because there's a G in there. Let's go take the G out. Submit the information again. Now it says birth year, so it's checking for birth year. So I think, oh, it means 2-character birth year. So I put 56, and I accidentally put a space after the 6. Submit information. It says that the birth year must be numeric. Well, I thought it was numeric because I thought I entered 56. But look what I did here. See how I have 56 wrapped in single quotes? And you can see after the 6, there's a space there. Without putting it in single quotes on the display, I wouldn't notice that necessarily. I would see just 56. And I would think, that's right. There's nothing wrong with that. That's numeric. What's the problem? But by having it in single quotes like this, it helps me see what the computer sees. Let's go back. I'm going to take the space out. Hit submit. Must be exactly 4 numbers. Okay, they want a 4-digit year. So I'll put in the 19. Hit submit. All right, life is good. We're back to a correct running of the program. But I didn't get to do that until I went through all the field validations. Let's look at the code now. All right, this is the HTML. Same thing as always, field names, hours slept, birth year. Go over to the PHP. Now, collect the data. Let's look at the first if statement. So here is the empty function. You haven't seen the empty function before. The empty function looks at what's between the 2 parentheses. It looks at the variable and sees, is it white space? Is it like blank? Does it have just tabs in it? Does it have something that you can't see? And if it is empty, that's something we don't want. So we're going to go ahead and print out an error message. Must enter a first name. I used a break, then to go to the next line and go back and try again. Now, I took the approach here, just to be simple, to print out the rest of the form, the end of the form, the end body tag and the end HTML tag, and then another PHP function called exit that basically ends the program, gets out of here, doesn't do any more code. But this gives a more clean ending to the web page that gets sent back to the browser before I quit the program with exit. So if we get past that, we come down to hours slept. Are they empty? You saw that. I ran it once. They were empty. Same kind of thing as above. Go through and exit. Now, look at the else here. If it's not empty, I then consider, is it numeric? Or more appropriately, is it not numeric? Remember, the exclamation point in front of something negates it. So if it's not numeric, it kind of reads sort of funny. Not is numeric. But essentially, it's if hours slept is not numeric, then print out the error message that we saw. It's not numeric. I put a G or something in there. And again, end the page, exit. Now we go down to birth year. Same thing. check for it's empty, check to see that it's numeric. Now, if we pass that test, we are numeric, I run another PHP function that you haven't seen before. It's called string length, or strlen, and that looks at a string, a bit of text, and says how many characters are in this string. It would include spaces. Now, we have some checks there to make sure that it's not spaces, but if there's any character in there at all, it'll count it. The string length, or stringlen, function will count it, and it returns, remember things are returned on the other side of the equal sign, an integer of the number of characters found in this case, birth year. So it should be 4. If it's not 4, there it is again, exclamation point, equals. If it's not 4, notice that's a number, so I don't have it in double quotes or single quotes. So if it's not 4, that's where that last error message came, said it must be exactly 4 numbers. Go back and try again. So notice again how I have code indented, the beginning and ending braces here, and I can very quickly see the structure of the program and that I haven't missed one of those. If you ever do miss one of those, you are likely to get an error message all the way down at the end of the program, somewhere around line 104. Even if down at the end of your program you have a bunch of just regular HTML, not even PHP code, because PHP is looking for that ending bracket, and it doesn't know until it gets to the end of your program that it never finds it. So if you find an error message that points you to the very end of the file, that's the thing you got to go looking for, a unbalanced left or right curly brace. That ends the lesson on validations.